Hello, my name is Elisa Tafoya, and I welcome you to my LMS developmental course presentation for New Mexico State University, course CEL 580 with Sandra Johnson. We are currently at my home page in my developmental course. This online community is a course regarding language arts at the secondary level, specifically for the 7th grade. The home page will give a brief summary and direct links here and there for students to click into to get them going immediately with their course. Part of the course navigation that I like to see. I took them directly to the course syllabus. It's always an important piece of information to have throughout the entire course. Here it is welcoming everybody to Mrs. Tafoya's online 7th grade language arts community. At the very beginning, I do put my contact information. It's important that students are able to find this information easily and quickly as they navigate through the site. As we scroll on down through the syllabus, I provide the course overview, which is explaining to students that they will be following the standards of the Common Core for New Mexico 7th grade. And right here off these bullets right here are the benchmarks and standards that they will be following. As I move down through the syllabus, I have the modules, assessments, and resource pages that are highlighted currently, but they are blue in the developmental course, which indicates a link to those pages directly. I figured that this is important for course navigation. I try to make it as easy as possible for students to get directly where they need to when they recognize that information. For instance, they're looking specifically at the modules and they remind themselves that they need to go there. So they can click directly into the modules and it will take them there instead of having to scroll back up the page to look at the menu here on the side. So I've taken you through the syllabus. Now we land on the course modules. The content is for language arts for the 7th grade. I have 6 different units that are set up. Currently, only one module is complete. The content that students will be learning is figurative language in Module 1. Module 2 will begin with short stories in book genres, followed by the writing process, then communicating and presenting, followed by creative writing and poetry, and lastly, persuasive and expository writing. Again, each one of these units align with the Common Core standards for New Mexico 7th graders. So it's important that this content is listed as a unit in the modules and that it's organized in a way that it overlays one topic into another and it follows through consistently, and they'll be using each of the units in conjunction with the following unit to convey their ideas, to communicate, to analyze, to write, to present, to persuade. So this entire time they're building one skill on top of another so that when it comes time to their assessment and standardized testing, they will have had much practice. The course navigation is extremely important, not only as the facilitator, but also as a student, which will minimize confusion and just wandering within the course to figure out what needs to be done. So I try to make sure that the information they need is right there at the click of a button. As you can see in the course modules, right here are all the pretty visual icons that Canvas uses to help the visual learner indicate what they will be doing. As you can see right at the very beginning, that is just content, it's just written page, while that is a discussion icon. These two are links, which that icon is just iconic of a link. Right here is an assignment. You can tell because it has an A+ on it, and maybe the A stands for assignment. Followed by more links and assignments. Summing up with a quiz, the Q for quiz. So it gives the students a nice visual before actually going into each one of the subjects, giving them the heads up. So as I take my learners through, there's a couple of content pages. My first form of communication, my first activity for communication is the figure of speech discussion. Students can click directly into there, the figure of speech, to be able to go to the discussion board and write their figure of speech using literary devices and having students respond back to them what that figure of speech meant. So for instance, if I reply in the discussion box that the cat's got my tongue, a student would reply that that meaning means that the person is shy or has very little to say. So it's an online dialogue and discussion, breaking the ice, because a lot of these figures of speech are humorous. A lot of them are unknown. So hopefully students will be educated on some unfamiliar figures of speech, maybe such as they don't understand or have never heard the term, don't take a wooden nickel. So again, students responding back, maybe guessing incorrectly what that means, but nonetheless a communication activity. Going back to the module section are the links, and I'd like to click directly into there just to show you how they come up. They don't link them externally, although they can go externally if they'd like. You saw that little thing pop up on my iPad that said that I could open the link in another window, but I just click directly onto it and it keeps me in Canvas. And I like this idea just for the simplistic purposes of navigating through Canvas. Again, the student doesn't have to go outside the course to get the information that they need. It stays right there. However, they have that choice to work it either way. So this is one of my resource pages, and a link that provides them with additional literary devices and resources for language arts. Back to the modules page. The next item that I would take my students through is another communication activity, which this time is a collaboration that I established through Google Docs. It is a collaboration to get students to start communicating a story. Students are asked to finish my line, and by passing around the story in Google Docs, and they are to use literary devices to create a sentence or two. And by the time that is passed around, we should have an interesting story where all students have collaborated and contributed to the document. Now, down here at the bottom, I've given students a rubric for them to follow. It's pretty simple. You have to put it in complete sentence structure, and you also have to use one of the 8 literary devices that were mentioned in the slideshow and previously in the module. So it's a very simple activity. Again, it's a nice communication activity to get them going. It's a collaboration. When When I click into finish my line, it will take them to the collaborations page where there is further directions. Again, navigating through the course very easily, direct links to what they need to do or collaborate on. Right here is the Google Doc that I started, where this will be passed around to students online. The collaboration tool on Google Docs updates automatically, so if there are multiple users on Google Docs using it, it indicates those changes immediately. So I start the story and students are to finish my line. On a gorgeous sunny day in the middle of the desert, I ran into a dog with eyes of blood and darkness that hungrily looked me over. With a smack and slurp of its jaws, a drop of saliva dropped like tears to the ground. Cited in parentheses my name so that the instructor and the student both realize that it is done, that they've contributed their part, and a grade can be assigned. So now students are to go back through and finish my line and add to the story. Back to the course modules page, we can see over here off to the right are due dates and point values. That should indicate to students that those particular areas or subjects will be graded and their timeline and due date for them. So another easy way for students to navigate and be able to quickly visualize what needs to be done and the due date. Again, all these assignments over here to the right, they are linked to the gradebook. The gradebook is an interesting feature that I didn't know a lot about until I was able to go through the Canvas manual and see how grades were uploaded and determined. There's a lot more to it than I had thought. So I like for the fact that that there is an old and a new gradebook option over here in the corner. This says to try out the new gradebook. Well, this is the new gradebook. If you revert back to the old gradebook, there's really not much of a difference. It's just a little bit different interface. However, I like these different options. I liked experimenting with them. I like knowing that I could set group weights and that I could also upload different scores and download different scores from an Excel spreadsheet. I thought that was helpful and something that could be useful to me in the future. The other thing that I also liked was that students could be graded on a curve, and that makes it easier for the teacher, especially if the subject was not learned as anticipated. So curving the grade was a nice feature that I didn't expect, and I'm excited to use that feature right there. Also, Speed Grader is something that I like. I haven't used it yet, but I know I have the Speed Grader iOS app on my cell phone that I can use on the go. So I found that to be interesting. I haven't really used it yet since I have no students added to my class. So many things were found out during the gradebook section of our LMS. I did have a lot of questions that were answered, and I found useful tools there. We are currently on the quizzes page in my developmental course. The quizzes page gave me some challenges. I am an iPad user, and I realized while I was making the quizzes that it was very frustrating, and I had to remake the quiz 5 different times because I had noticed that I would make an error in the quiz questions, and there was no way on my iPad to edit those questions, and I just knew that there had to be. And so consequently, I ended up redoing the quiz 5 separate times before I ended up trying out my Dell laptop and finding that on a Windows-based operating system, I'm able to use an edit quiz question option on there compared to my iPad. So after all that frustration, I was able to edit my question successfully and reload my quiz. The quiz gave me a lot of good insight, and as far as how I could structure my quiz, knowing that I could use different quiz formats such as or quiz question methods such as true and false, multiple choice, fill in the blank, matching such as this question right here. I thought that was a great way that I wasn't expecting on here. There was also an open-ended, multiple answers, such as question 7 right here. So while the quiz was very frustrating for me, it gave me good practice, and I'm excited to use more quizzes now that I'm able to actually see the full functionality of this feature. Regardless of challenges and frustrations, this developmental course has given me much experience thus far, and I've realized that every accomplishment starts with a decision to try. Thanks for listening.